Hello everybody, in this video we're going to talk about how to find the surface area of a right cone. So first of all, let's talk about what is a right cone. We see our right cone on the left side of our screen here, and we got about 4 or 5 pieces of information that we need to take note of. Okay, so if we look at the very top, we see that is our vertex of our cone. If we look to the left of that, we have what's called the slant height. So that's going to be our diagonal distance, kind of think about like going up the side of the cone. And then we have our height, which is the vertical line from the vertex to the center of the circle, which is our base at the bottom. So we see our base here, which is our circle. And we have our radius r. And lastly, we have this idea of our lateral surface. So the lateral surface is just going to be the surface of the cone that goes around like this. And essentially it consists of all segments that connect the vertex with points on the base edge. So if we have our vertex up here, it's all of these different segments that connect to our base, and that's what gives us our cone. So if we think about how to find the surface area of our right cone, we see that the bottom of our cone is a circle. And so in our diagram right here, we see that circle. And on the right side, this would be like if we took our cone and we cut it straight down from the vertex all the way to the base, and we've unfolded it, and this is what our net would look like. So now we can use this formula down here at the bottom in white. Area of the sector divided by area of the circle is equal to arc length divided by the circumference of the circle. So we are doing this so that we can find the area of this sector, right? Because essentially that's what we've created. And so once we find that, we can add that to the area of our circle. So our circle here we know would just be pi r squared. That would be the area with the radius being r. We've seen that before in previous videos on how to find the area of a circle, and I'll link that in the cards right now. So far we have our circle, which has an area of pi r squared, and now we need to find the lateral surface area. Okay, and so once we have those two, we can just add those together to get our formula for our video today on how to find the surface area of a right cone. So over here, we are trying to find the area of our sector. So we're going to leave that as area of the sector. And now we're going to write the area of our circle, which would be pi l squared, because our radius here would be l, since we've flattened it out and drawn this as a net. Okay, we're going to say that's equal to the arc length, which is here, 2 pi r, and the circumference of the circle, which would be 2 pi l, because once again, L is our radius and the circumference of a circle is pi times diameter, or 2 pi r. Okay, so now we can simplify this. So let's multiply both sides by pi, not pi r l, pi l squared. So pi l squared. All right, so now we can write this as area of the sector is equal to, and now we can write pi l squared times 2 pi r divided by 2 pi l. And now we can simplify a little bit. We see that our 2's would cancel here, our pi's would cancel. And so now what we have, we'll go ahead and rewrite it. Area of the sector is equal to pi l squared times r divided by l. And so now we have l squared divided by l, and that's just going to give us 1l, right? So our final area of the sector is going to be, area of the sector is just going to be pi l r, okay? And so now we can write that as pi, and if it's L times R, typically what we see it written as is R times L. So now for our video today, to find the surface area of our right cone, so surface area of a right cone, we're going to add these two areas together. So we'll say S is equal to pi R squared plus pi R L. Okay, and that is our equation that we're going to be using today. Okay, so now let's look at 3 examples where we use this formula. All right, example number 1, we have our cone and we have a radius of 6 and a slant height of 8 inches. Okay, so we're going to write our equation. S is equal to pi r squared plus pi r l, and we're just going to go ahead and substitute our information in. So S is equal to pi, radius is 6, so 6 squared plus pi, radius once again is 6, and now our slant height is 8. So we can say S is equal to 6 squared is 36, so this is 36 pi, plus 6 times 8 is 48, so we get 48 pi. So once again, we can write our answer in terms of pi, or we can write it as a decimal. Okay, so we'll go ahead and write it as a decimal first. So 36 plus 48, this would give us 84 pi, and this is square inches. And we would also say this is in terms of decimal, 263.89 square inches. Okay, so that would be our surface area for number 1. All right, for number 2, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So S is equal to pi r squared plus pi rl, and we're going to plug in our information. So S is equal to pi, our radius here is 9, and our slant height is 12. So we get S is equal to 81 pi plus 9 times 12, and we get 108 pi. So we can add those together now. So we get S is equal to 189 pi, and that is now meters squared. Okay, so now let's multiply that by pi to get our decimal approximation. So 189 pi, and that gives us 593.76 square meters. All right, for number 3, we got to think about it a little bit. We are not given the slant height, so we have to calculate that. And also we are given our radius in inches and our height in feet. So the first thing we want to do is look at 2 feet and convert that to inches. How many inches are in 2 feet? Well, that would be 24 inches. And so now what we've created, or what we have now, is a 10, 24, and we have a hypotenuse of a right triangle. So we could think about the Pythagorean theorem. So hopefully we can recognize that this is a Pythagorean triple, and this would be a 10, 24, 26 right triangle. This is Pythagorean triple, and if we think about the simplified version, this would be like a 5, 12, 13, but we've just multiplied all these measures by 2. So now we can go ahead and use our formula. S is equal to pi r squared plus pi rl, and we plug in our information. So pi, our radius is 10, and our slant height, which we calculated from a Pythagorean triple, is 26. Okay, so now we get 100 pi plus 260 pi, and we get 360 pi. So now we can type that in our calculator, 360 pi, and we get a decimal approximation of 1,130.97, and both of these are square inches. Okay, and that is how you find the surface area of a right cone.